A pleasant good morning, reaching out to each and every one. I am David Annakie of the Link Up Media Group of Companies. I'd like to say welcome to the show, Cruising with the Handler. It is a show that's brought to you by Pollack, Isaac, and Nasico. In my opinion, the most powerful law firm in this side of the country, and that is, of course, New York State. We want to welcome each and every one on Facebook right now tuning in. You can follow me, David Annakie, right here on Facebook. Also, of course, you can follow the firm, PPID Law. That's Pollack, Isaac, and Nasico. You can also follow my colleague and co-pilot, Adam Handler. He's one of the partners and attorneys at the firm, Pollack, Isaac, and Nasico. He is he's a personal injury attorney, and some of you may call him an accident attorney because if and when you do get hurt in an accident, Adam Handler is the only attorney that you will need for your accident cases, whether those are medical malpractice, slip and fall, construction accident, automobile accident. He's the only one that you will truly need for your accident cases. I have been on 93.5 WVIP FM since 1996. Yeah, just about when I retired from corporate America, showing my age. And I have had one of the longest running legal show on radio in the entire nation because of the contiguous block of time that I've actually been doing this. And I'm extremely proud of helping out all communities, but primarily the immigrant community. And with my colleagues and friends here, such as Alan E.K., who is already on this Zoom session, I want to thank people like him for helping out an immigrant community where we were ignorant of so many things, but by bringing in these powerful attorneys such as the General Alan E.K., Esquire at PPID, we have been able to change lives. We have been able to save lives when it comes to, of course, families staying together, people having their loved ones around them, people getting their status in the United States of America, now a much better place in my opinion. So once again, folks, we say to you, one, do not do your immigration case yourself. Two, make sure you're an excellent personal injury attorney, all right? Because if you have an excellent injury attorney, you're good to go where your accidents are concerned. And when it comes to immigration, as my colleague Conrad Pollack, the managing partner at the firm would say, immigration is a minefield. So why would you want to play around with something that has to do with your status here in the United States and potentially screw it up, potentially mess it up, potentially inadvertently destroying your potential of being and staying in the United States? You don't want to do that. So ladies and gentlemen, it is the reason why I profess and I implore you to go exclusively with the firm PPID. They will never get up and say that they are the best. But one thing I love about them is their honesty. And I speak about it every single day. Reach out to them. Their number is very simple. At least have a conversation with them. Get a consultation with them. Speak with them. They'll be very thorough, on point, and letting you understand what needs to be done. The number is 844-774-3529. That's 844-774-3529. And once again, welcome to the show, Cruising with a Case Handler, a powerful show brought to you by the law firm Pollack, Isaac, and Nasico on personal injury and yes, on immigration. So many things are happening now that we have a new administration. President Joe Biden is doing wonders. Someone put their computer up there? There we go. President Joe Biden is doing wonders with executive orders and more to come on immigration, and a lot that will affect us in this nation. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to say to keep updated, to stay updated, email news@ppid.com. That's news@ppid.com. The firm will email you newsletters from time to time, giving you updates as to what's happening with immigration and how it can and how it will affect you. Once again, the email address is news@ppid. Now, everybody out there, as you share.
It's a garden. But so is this. Sure.
Okay, Alan, you got something running on your computer there. But as you guys are out there right now, I'd like for you on Facebook to start sharing in every group that you're a part of. Share on your friends' timelines and say, hey, David Annakie, the CEO of the Link Up Media Group of Companies, is hosting a show with attorneys on immigration and personal injury. So right now, I would love for you to share, forward the link, just click on the share button and share that on your friends' timelines, share that in your groups, share that with anyone that you think might be able to, that will need this information. You could even share it on your WhatsApp groups, all right? You can do that. I do that every day. If you have questions, place those questions in the comment section on Facebook or call 844-774-3529 to get yourself a consultation. That's 844-774-3529. 844-774-3529. That's 844-PPID. It's great to be here today. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Cruising with the Case Handler. And that's, of course, Adam Handler and the attorneys. Conrad, Pollack, welcome. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. We had a good show yesterday, and Alan, I took over some of your role, providing some of the details as to what's been going on for the past week, because today is the 1-week anniversary of the new administration, and for 81 million people in this country, at least, that's a reason to celebrate. And particularly for the immigrants in this country, it's a major reason to celebrate because of all the things that he's already done and planning to do. In fact, Alan, Friday they're declaring it National Immigrant Day, or there's something going on Friday.
There's some big stuff coming out he's going to announce some big things on Friday, and I will talk about that. But
before you start, getting back to what we were discussing yesterday, the various executive orders that have been put in place. One of them in particular, which is of significant interest to a lot of our clients, has to do with the executive order that placed a temporary 100-day moratorium on removals and deportations from the United States. A federal judge in Texas yesterday enjoined the implementation of that order, meaning the judge put a halt to it, basically saying that, I don't even know what the reasoning was. All I know is it was a Trump-appointed judge. He's a very conservative judge. And basically, the Texas Attorney General filed suit that the government cannot do that. Biden cannot just unilaterally do that, and they have to enforce the laws. So what this means is that moratorium, there has been a stay placed on the implementation of that order, but that doesn't mean that the Immigration Service is automatically going to begin deporting people again. On the contrary, the order by the judge said nothing about how the government needs to proceed going forward. The judge just said that the executive order cannot be implemented. So basically what that means is instead of in an above board way, the government is going to follow the judge's order. Obviously, this is not the Trump administration. The Biden administration does actually follow the rules, but I'm sure they're not going to start deporting people just like that, just like the Trump administration was just deporting anybody and everyone that was here illegally. The Biden administration has again come out after the order saying they are going to review cases on an individual basis. There is no blanket policy basically saying if you're illegal, you're a target, we catch you, you're gone. The Biden administration is not going to do that, regardless of this judge's order. Alan, did I state it correctly?
you're right, but the judge's order is a 14 days. So it's not a permanent hold on Biden's new proposal about 100.
Okay, but in effect, it really doesn't have much in the way of teeth, regardless, because the Biden administration can just say to the director of Homeland Security or the acting director of Immigration, CIS, say again, they did. There was another executive order where Biden said, we are not going to follow the Trump policy of deporting everybody just because they're illegally here. We're going to prioritize and remove the people only that deserve to be removed. So if you're a dishwasher who's never committed a crime, you've been here for 20 years, you've got a family of 5 or 6 people here, under the Trump administration, if you were in the wrong place at the wrong time, you get caught, you're gone. Under the Biden administration, if you're in the wrong place in the wrong time, you're not necessarily going to be deported. On the contrary, you're probably not going to have a problem. They're going to probably allow you to go along your way and try to legalize. So regardless, again, the way I read this executive order, the way I read this judge's order in Texas yesterday, it doesn't have a lot of teeth because the Biden administration still, they control the executive branch. The USCIS is part of the executive branch. So basically the Biden administration, Attorney General, Director of Homeland Security, whatever, they're going to tell the Director of USCIS or ICE, you're not going to start removing people willy-nilly like the Trump administration did.
Correct. That's right.
Go
But
ahead.
there's still reason. So there's still reason to celebrate, even though this judge came down against the Biden administration yesterday. It doesn't have much in the way of teeth. There is still reason for immigrants to celebrate. So if you have been here for a long period of time, if you've been keeping your nose clean, you've been staying out of trouble, you've been paying your taxes, you've been working, supporting your family, maybe you made a mistake 20, 30, 40 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever, all right? That does not mean that, unlike the previous administration, that does not mean that you're in danger of being removed. On the contrary, you'll have your fair day, your fair chance to legalize.
Beautiful. Once again, folks, the voice of Conrad Pollack, they call him the voice, they call him the maestro. He's the architect of the firm Pollack, Isaac and Sequel that has been around for 60 solid years. Everyone tuning into 93.5 FM, note the number, dial the number. As I've always said, let it ring 10, 15, 20 seconds. And this way, you know you have it in your phone. Store it as PPID or lawyer. The number once again is 844-774-3529. That's 844-PPID-LAW. Now is the time to call with so many things coming down the pike for, of course, immigration. Let me also welcome Nelson Madrid. They call him the Maverick because of how excellent he is at handling complex cases, especially with removal proceedings, as one of the top immigration attorneys at the firm and beyond. Nelson Madrid, welcome to your show also, man. How are you?
Hi, good. Good morning, everyone.
It's good to see you're in the office. Seems like you're in the Peekskill office based on the background.
Correct. I am actually at the Westchester office today. You know,
What's the address there in Peekskill? And what's the phone number they can call to actually schedule a one-on-one appointment with you, God forbid, over Zoom or even in the office?
Sure. It's 844-774-3529, 844-774-3529. Be sure to mention the show. We are giving the viewers and listeners a discounted rate on consultation fees. So if you call and schedule an appointment, make sure to mention the show.
Absolutely. And how often are you in Peekskill, or is it by appointment, Nelson?
Typically once a week. We have a lot of clients out here. So typically, you know, one of the reasons we open an office out here is because we have a lot of clients out here, actually. And our clients used to complain that going into the city, you know, they would waste a whole day of work just getting downtown and then having to come back home. So we opened up a satellite office here a couple of years ago. And obviously our clients are very happy. It's very convenient for them. You have a lot of people, especially when they know that I'm in the office, they just drop by, whether it's to say hello or, you know, to meet with us to discuss their case. So it's been great.
Okay. And it's for someone like me who normally is in that area, in the Greenwich, Westchester area, I'd prefer to drive up to Peekskill rather than taking a train into the city to see you guys, you know, or just do Zoom. So I think that's a phenomenal idea in having a Peekskill office. And how long have you been practicing law, Nelson? How long have you been with the firm?
I've been practicing law, I think a little too long. I think I've been doing this for about 13, going on 14 years or something. I've lost track of time, quite honestly. But, you know, I've been fortunate. There's not, you know, something I often joke with my colleagues about. There's not a lot of movies I haven't seen. You know, a lot of these cases are cases that we've already done, that we've, you know, fact patterns we've already seen. You know, again, I'm fortunate to work with a great team. We all work together. You know, I work with Alan Kay, Conrad Pollack, Alexandra, Yi Zhao. You know, everyone, I mean, I think I mentioned this before, right now, between Alan, Conrad, and myself, there's close to 100 years of experience. You know, wow. That's just 3 of the attorneys, right? That's not including the other 4 members of the team. So I've been very fortunate. When I don't know something and I can't find an answer, I definitely have people I can turn to and ask for their opinion or their expertise, which in my opinion only benefits our clients.
Absolutely. Final question for you, Mr. Nelson Madrid, Esquire, at the law firm Pollack, Isaac and Sequel, where you are an attorney. What would you say separates you from other immigration attorneys that's on the station, off the station, around this community that you grew up in? What would you say for a man who has had just about 14 solid years of practicing in immigration law? What would you say separates you from all the other attorneys external of PPID and also on the station? What would you say separates you?
Well, first of all, I don't have to scream to get my point across, right? I mean, you hear me speaking. I believe my work.
Well, no, so I don't. What do you mean by that? I don't
Well,
understand.
he's asking what separates me, what distinguishes us from the other attorneys who actually advertise on this station, or
Oh, you mean like ranting like a lunatic
right.
over the radio?
Well, that's what I said. I mean, obviously, I don't think there's any need for anyone to scream. I think we provide a service. We are fully aware of the fact that it is a service we are providing. We have no qualms with meeting with clients even after they retain us. It's not a situation where a client meets with me one time and never sees me again. On the contrary, a client meets with me, I discuss their case with them. If I am the attorney personally handling their case, I can meet with them, obviously whenever they have any issues, whenever they have any concerns. I'm easily accessible. I also do make appearances. Again, it's not a bait and switch. You're not coming to the firm thinking you're retaining me. And, I've never, or I haven't seen the inside of a courtroom in many years. On the contrary, I do try cases. I do represent people. We do provide a service. And I believe we try to be as honest as we can with all of our clients.
Thank you so much. Nelson Madrid, one of the partners at the firm, Pollack, Isaac and Seco. The firm has been around, ladies and gentlemen, at 225 Broadway with offices in Peekskill and Brooklyn. So we want to say thanks to each and every one tuning in. Right now, share on Facebook for us, and the number to call to make sure you have the number of a full service law firm, an excellent law firm. The number is 844-PPID-LAW. That's 844-774-3529. Every single immigrant, even non-immigrant, need to have the number of a good firm, a solid firm. Pollack, Isaac, and Seco. God forbid you get hurt in an accident, you need immigration help. I always say, call PPID first. 844-774-3529. Yes, Nelson.
David, and just to add to that, I met with a client yesterday, and another thing I think that it's very, very important. I don't sell you a dream, right? I know what everybody wants to hear. If it's not the truth, that's not the way we do business. If it's a long shot, we tell you it's a long shot. If the case is viable and we think there's a very good chance of success, you're fully aware of just how solid your case is. And I think that's important because you never want to set unrealistic expectations for clients.
Absolutely not. And also, the firm would never take money, on pending potential issues from the Biden administration, potential benefits from the Biden administration, would you?
Right. Well, that obviously that's understood. In fact, it's something I tell, most of the people I meet with now, there are changes in the pipeline, but nothing has been finalized.
Right.
So be careful, because unfortunately in the legal field, it is so easy to find someone that is going to tell you what you want to hear and it not be the case. And, eventually you'll find yourself out a couple of $1,000s and realize, I should have listened to them. They were right. And that's actually very, very common.
It's true. How often, Nelson, have we had clients that come to us that had a lawyer or notary or something, or somebody to help them with the papers, and they paid them whatever number of thousands of dollars, and then they're calling and there's no answer. And then finally, after a few months, they go to their office on Astoria Boulevard or in Jackson Heights, and all of a sudden they're knocking on the door, there's nobody there.
So,
nobody knows
Conrad,
where the person went.
Right. Actually, and this happened recently, and I'm sure this may sound familiar to you. We met with someone we had recommended against them going forward. They went to another lawyer who told them I had no idea what I was talking about. Mm-hmm. So they spent thousands of dollars, hired this other lawyer, and then the lawyer basically told them, oh, by the way, your case is not viable. I hear an echo.
Try that again.
Are you there?
So the lawyer basically, after he took thousands of dollars. You hear the echo?
Yeah.
Yes.
Got to shake your computer there.
You hear the echo?
Yes.
Yeah. Try again, Nelson.
Right.
After you took thousands of dollars.
After he took thousands of dollars, He returned
after he took thousands of dollars. He returned
to our office and asked us to basically.
It's your microphone. Jiggle your microphone plug. The plug. Yeah, just jiggle it a little bit. Yeah. Technology, ladies and gentlemen. Murphy.
Now?
Yeah, much better. Go ahead.
Okay, so after the other law, again, we told them, don't go forward. You don't have a case. Of course, they continued shopping. They found somebody who told them what they wanted to hear. The lawyer took thousands of dollars and then literally at the last hearing told them, oh, by the way, you don't really have a case. The judge is going to order you deported. And the clients came back to us, and basically said, I should have listened to you guys, and, they hired us and we're going to see what, if anything, we can do for them. But obviously it's a very bad situation.
And that's what happens when you don't listen, folks. And here we are every day letting you know, dial the number, at least get a consultation. You'll get that reduced consultation fee. Call them at 844-774-3529. That's 844-774-3529. If you're hearing my voice or the attorney's voice, Nelson Madrid, Conrad, Pollack, and Alan's voice, you need to have that number in your phone. Pass it on to someone who needs good, clean, honest help from attorneys that's been around for a while. 844-PPID law. That's 844-774-3529. I decided to spend some time this morning speaking about the attorneys, speaking about what it is that they have accomplished, speaking about their honesty, and speaking up about the fact that they don't take advantage of people's ignorance or their anxiety, because that's been happening a lot. That's been floating around a lot. I have received calls. People are saying, Squeeze, can I have your immigration lawyer's number? Because I just got screwed. I just got bent over. I mean, there's so many people calling me now about that. Why? Because guess what, folks? We know we're in a pandemic. We know we have financial situations. But I will tell you this, it will cost you more by going to the person down on the corner of Gunnell Road, person over at Sutpin, or wherever Conrad said, also down in the Eastern Parkway, that person that's on the corner who just set up shop for a couple of months to take advantage of you where your money is concerned in relation to you getting immigration benefits. You don't want that. Call the attorneys, speak with them, then make a decision to hire them at PPID. 844-774-3529. I'm just trying to save you some money, save you some time, save you from potentially being put in removal proceedings or getting charged with fraud. Give the firm a call. 844-774-3529. I'm not saying that people can't do their cases and get it done right. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying why take the chance when you've got the professionals at PPID. 844-774-3529. With that said, we kick it over to the general. He is the general because of his depth, his experience, his knowledge, not his age, Conrad, of his connections, his links, okay, his wherewithal when it comes to the knowledge on immigration. His name is Annakie. He's one of the attorneys at PPID. He's going to bring us up to speed with news update. Then we'll jump into some questions right here from you. Place those questions in the WhatsApp group on the Facebook page. And also, of course, you can email news@ppid.com. Annakie. Yes.
I tease Alan about how long he's been into practice, but especially these days, there's so much talk of historical precedent. In fact, with this impeachment, the pro-impeachment crowd is saying, even though Trump is no longer the president, they can still impeach him, and that's based on precedent from 1876 when Ulysses S. Grant's Secretary of War was about to be impeached, and he resigned trying to avoid impeachment. They impeached him anyway, and he was already out of office. So there is precedent for this. So my point here, Alan's been around a long time. He can bring historical perspective to the various things that we talk about. And Alan, I mean, you can tell us, back in the 20s, and when you voted for Herbert Hoover, it was a very similar time to today. No?
Right. Exactly the same.
You know what? I got one question for Alan before you jump off. You can take 2 minutes and explain this for me. And to a lot of people out there who don't know what it is. Explain to the folks out there what a filibuster is, please.
Okay. A filibuster is where some legislation is pending before Congress, mainly the Senate, And one side, either the Republicans or Democrats, don't want it to go through. And so somebody, let's take the Republicans. So let's say something is pending before the Senate. The Democrats would like it to go through. The Republicans would not like it to go through. So they just keep talking and talking and talking and talking, and maybe read the newspaper and go on for hours and hours and hours. And finally, the people who want this legislation to go through will just give up, and they'll just pass over it. So it stops legislation from going through. It helps the side that wants to do the filibuster. And at this point, I think that McConnell, who's now the minority leader of the Senate, has said he will not go through with filibusters from the Republican side, so which is a good sign. So it's a negative thing. It stops legislation from going through. And I think that we're not going to have a filibuster this time around, hopefully.
If I could just chime in, what it does, the filibuster creates the need for a super majority in the Senate, as opposed to a simple majority. There are 100 senators. Simple majority is 51 to 49, or in this case, it's 50-50, and the vice president, who acts as president of the Senate, would be the deciding vote. So make it 51 to 50. The filibuster creates the need for a super majority to pass most legislation. And what that means is you have to, in order to shut down the filibuster, in order to end it, there has to be a vote of 60 senators to end the filibuster. That means since there are 50 Democrats, they need 10 Republicans. It's highly unlikely in most cases these days, for the last 20, 30 years, whatever it is, to find 10 senators from the opposing party to agree with the party trying to push the legislation so that you get a supermajority of 60 senators voting. And that's why the filibuster is so effective at derailing legislation of the opposing party. So the Democrats trying to eliminate it, if they were successful in eliminating the filibuster, which just takes a vote by the Senate to eliminate it, a majority vote, but if they were to do so, they could pass legislation with just a simple majority. Now, what's the downside of it? Why not do it? But what's the downside? Well, Democrats aren't going to be in power forever. 2 years from now, the Republicans might take the Senate back. And if that's the case, then the Republicans would have the same power to implement whatever law, whatever they choose to, with a simple majority. And so there's viewpoints from both sides. Most sensible people like to view it as the long game and not jump into eliminating the filibuster so quickly. I happen to agree with that view right now. Let the Biden administration try to get some legislation through. If the Republicans continually filibuster, if they continually deny the Democrats their ability to pass legislation, then you revisit the issue, and then possibly you actually do get rid of the filibuster. But until the Republicans show that they're totally obstinate, I personally, I don't think they should do it just yet. Give them some time to comply first.
Keep in mind, the Democrats only have 2 years.
Yeah.
So, you don't want to necessarily, in my opinion, at least, you don't want to wait.
That's true. They got to move fast.
They time is of the essence here,
Yep.
because, what I find interesting about all of this is when the Republicans controlled the Senate, they did what they wanted to do. They pushed whatever it was they wanted to push through. They made it happen. Now that the Democrats control, let's play nice. Let's be friends. Let's work together. Right. What's interesting is when they impeached Trump for the second time, by the way, there's only been 4 impeachments in the history of presidents of the United States. Donald Trump is the distinguished owner of 2 of those impeachments, by the way. But nevertheless, when they impeached Trump and they said that there wasn't enough time, remember, there wasn't enough time, but they still managed to confirm a Supreme Court justice.
Yeah.
So it's very convenient, in my opinion. It's almost hypocritical. Again, I'm going to do whatever I want, but now that you have the power, let's be friends. Let's play nice. So look, we have 2 years, or I should say the Democrats have 2 years that they control the Senate, make use of it. It would be the biggest mistake, of the Biden administration not to take advantage of these next 2 years. You
Well, I
know,
don't think they're doing that. I think they're moving really at warp speed here, and they're trying to push many changes. And come on, just the fact that the Democrats introduced a major immigration reform bill on the first day that he's in office, that's never happened before. So they're definitely they're moving fast, and they're being aggressive, and I think they're doing the right thing. And let's see. Let's see what happens with this COVID relief bill, this $1.9 trillion bill. If the Republicans just outright oppose it, then yeah, maybe then they start talking about the filibuster and get rid of it.
yep.
But
My point is
let's see.
keep your foot on the
Yep.
gas.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Obama made that mistake. I'm a Democrat, lifelong liberal, and I feel that Obama tried to be nice and tried to get the Republicans to come along with him back in 2008 after he was elected. And he had the Senate, the Democrats had the House, the Senate, and the president. And he tried to get Republicans to come along. He offered border security and all kinds of other punitive measures for immigrants in return for immigration reform and a pathway to citizenship. And Republicans basically blew him off. Biden was there. Biden apparently learned that lesson. So he basically is just going forward with his plan to change immigration laws, and we'll see what happens. Anyway, Alan, you had some things to say.
Before we get to you, let me squeeze the number in here, and you've got 15 seconds to answer this question. The number is 844-PPID-LAW, 844-774-3529. That's 844-PPID-LAW. Everyone, dial the number, store the number. We're going to continue on Facebook after the top of the hour, but here's a quick...
The garden. But so is this. Sure is.
You got something that's recurring on your computer there, Alan. That's playing that recurring thing. But quick one here, attorneys. My mother has been a U.S. citizen for 9 years. I am 47 years old, and my mom is filing for me. I was wondering if I could bring my kids along. They are 17, 13, 16 years old. I am wondering what's the best way for them to join the filing. Alan?
Okay, did you start off by saying he is a citizen, or his
mother is a citizen?
His mother's a citizen?
And he's 47 years old, and his mom is filing for him. He wants to know if he can bring his kids 17, 13, and 16.
All right. No, not really. When his mom files for him, she's a citizen. He's filing for him. The kids are not included. So the mom has to file for him, and when he gets permanent residence, he will then file for the kids.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Once again, folks, reach out to Pollack, Isaac, and the Seacoast. 60 years can't be wrong with this law firm in New York City. Their number is 844-774-3529. That's 844-PPID-LAW. We'll now continue on my Facebook page, David Annakie, the Case Handlers page, PPID's page. Make sure you follow us and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.
It's 10 o'clock.
Let's continue now on Facebook, ladies and gentlemen. Alan E.K., we call him the General. Once again, not because of his age, but because of his depth, his experience, his knowledge in the immigration capacity. Alan, bring us up to speed with the news, man, on immigration and more.
Okay, I've got a lot of stuff, but basically, we've been talking about changing the immigration law, and that has to go through Congress, and we talked about filibuster. So how are we going to get changes? Some changes Biden can do through executive orders. Trump did a lot of executive orders, and that 100-day freeze was an executive order, even though it's on hold. So we can get changes through executive order, and I'll talk more about that. At the same time, we will get changes through legislation, which is a little more difficult because it has to go through Congress. Now, I have a list of different things Biden is going to be doing, and interesting, on January 29th, he's going to be doing some changes dealing with refugees, but he's going to be starting a family reunification task force, this will create a task force to reunify families separated by the Trump administration's immigration policies. And more importantly, he's going to be doing an executive order which will direct immediate review of the public charge rule. This is a terrible rule. It's been giving everybody a hard time. And so on that date, immediate review of that rule and other actions to remove barriers, including improving the naturalization process. And we've been talking about this new naturalization test, which is designed to make it much, much harder to pass and much harder to become a citizen. So look for some big things to happen on January 29th, and I will report back on that again after January 29th. Next, as of January 26th, all international air travelers to the United States will have to show proof of a negative virus test before leaving. This policy took effect on January 26th. And keep in mind also that it applies to U.S. citizens, it applies to permanent residents, but also keep in mind that if you're going to take a test back home in Jamaica, it's going to be turned around in a minimum of 3 days, but it could be a lot longer in other places. So if you're coming to the United States, you haven't taken a test, you're going to take a test to show that you don't have the virus. It may take quite a while until you get it back from the doctor, and you're not coming to the United States unless you can show a negative virus test. Okay, now, there is a new immigration law pending. It's called the Us Citizenship Act of 2021, and it creates a path for citizenship.
This is a garden. But so is this. Sure is. That's a garden.
By the way, I'm sorry about that. Alan, you've got, once again, something that keeps repeating itself on your computer. Let's see if it's off now.
With a big year,
There you go. All right. Once again, stand by, Alan. Whatever it is on your computer, it needs to be removed, but it pops up ever so often. All right. Sorry about that over there, though.
Mazda.
Okay, so
It's not.
this new bill is called the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021, and it will create a roadmap for citizenship for undocumented people, and many of our listeners are undocumented. The bill allows undocumented individuals to apply for a temporary legal status with the ability to apply for green cards after 5 years. And if they pass criminal and national security checks and pay their taxes, then 3 years later, they can apply for U.S. citizenship. So this is really a good thing, but understand that this is a proposal. This is not the law. Only Congress can change the law, even though some radio and television internet shows make it sound like the president changed the law. So unfortunately, there are unscrupulous individuals who try to sell false hope. Be aware of individuals who ask you to pay for pre-registration. There's no such thing. And be aware of people who pressure you to pay money, or you'll miss your chance to get under this new law. So here are some tips. First of all, follow mainstream reputable news organizations that report the news, not speculation. Any new immigration law will be big news. Be aware of shows or individuals who claim to have secret information. Organize your documents. If there is immigration reform, it's likely that you will have to prove you've been living in the United States before a certain date. Now is a good time to make sure you have documents in a safe place. Next, stay out of trouble. Until a new law comes and we know its requirements, the present law is still in place and people can still be deported. Watch out for notarios, translators, bookkeepers, travel agents, or others who just prepare immigration forms. They're not licensed immigration attorneys. They do not know the law. They do not care. If they do something wrong, you may end up deported with no way to recover your money. So keep in mind, there are sharks out there who will be happy to take your money and as Conrad said, take your money, and when you go back to the office is not there anymore. Now, as far as removal proceedings are concerned, the immigration courts have still not processing non-detained hearings. If you are detained, those removal proceedings are being processed. But non-detained cases where you have a removal proceeding and no date, they keep pushing the date back and back and back. The latest date they're looking at now is February 19th, 2020, and that's of this year, 2019, and it's likely to get pushing back. There's a one.
I'm sorry, just to interject right quick.
Yes.
That is for non-detained cases at 290 Broadway or at 26 Federal Plaza. Detained cases are still going forward.
Yes.
So, and also that applies to New York. So I just want to make that distinction and be clear.
So if you are detained, it's a different situation. But If you have a removal proceeding, not detained, they keep pushing it back. And right now, there's a 1.3 million backlog on removal proceedings. And the number of cases pending before U.S. immigration courts went up nearly 50% under the Trump administration. Okay, now, we talked about the fact that this new policy about a freeze for 100 days is on hold right now because of the Texas judge, a Trump judge, but that's for 14 days, and we'll see what happens after the 14 days and whether the policy will go ahead, what's going to happen with that. Okay, now, in addition, if you're coming into the United States and you have an immigration appointment, you will not be able to enter the immigration office, the field office, for your appointment without first being in the United States for a minimum of 14 days. So if you have an interview scheduled, you've been outside the United States less than 14, and you come back and it's not 14 days, they're going to cancel the interview. Next, Ms. Alejandro Mayakis, who is going to be the next head of the Department of Homeland Security, his nomination has passed the Senate, a Senate committee, and now can go ahead with full Senate to vote. Once he becomes, once he passes the full Senate, he will then be the head of the Department of Homeland Security. He's a great guy. He knows the immigration system is broken. He would like to try to see it fixed. He's an immigrant himself. He's a lawyer. He's a very bright guy. I've met him. So the fact that Mayakis has passed the Senate committee and now it goes to the full Senate. And I also mentioned that it looks like Daca is going to be going forward. Federal court judge required the USCIS to start accepting Daca applications. They were giving a hard time before that. So to qualify for Daca, if you haven't filed Daca yet, you don't have it, you have to be born on or after June 15th, 1981. You have to come to the United States before the age of 16. You have to be in the United States on June 15, 2012, and still be here. No proper immigration status as of June 15, 2012. You have to be a high school graduate, enrolled in high school, or a recipient of a GED,
Right.
GED program, or be honorably discharged from the U.S. military, and no significant criminal record. So in addition, as of December 7th, 2020, USCIS will be accepting travel permit applications for people who already have DACA. This can be very helpful. Some of the DACA people haven't been at home since they were little kids. And so USCIS will be granting to those people who qualify. It's called a parole, a travel document. So if you are on DACA, you can apply for a parole. Now, also,
Alan, before we conclude though,
yes.
I want to squeeze in a couple of quick questions before I get killed or creamed by some of these folks who saying, Squeeze, when is my question going? Nelson, when is my question coming up? So not to interrupt, all right? But if you don't mind, do you mind if I squeeze in a couple of questions?
Yep.
All right. Someone here says, I am pregnant and signing up for my F2 visa. My husband is already living in the US as an F1 OPT. The first visa appointment that is available for appointment is on September. My baby is due in September. Does anyone know if in this situation, I can apply for an emergency visa?
Now, there's no such thing as an emergency visa. If you're on the waiting line for an immigrant visa through your husband, they're not going to change the waiting line just because you're pregnant and going to have a baby.
What happens when that baby is born, Nelson and Alan? What happens if that baby is born? Can that baby automatically?
So that might be an issue. They can actually, I assume this person is abroad, right?
Yeah.
Is abroad and is applying for a visa. When they see that obviously she's, obviously bigger than normal and she can potentially be expecting to have a baby shortly after she arrives, they can turn her away.
Okay.
They can turn her away and deny her visa. And we've spoken about this before. Obviously there's a high likelihood, she will be a public charge, right? She's gonna
in our country. Why does she stays there in our country, have the baby, and she's being filed for by her husband. How can
Well, her husband can't file for her as an F2. Well, I'm sorry, actually, an F. What was it? An F? F2B?
I'm signing up for my F2 visa. My husband is already living in the US as an F1 OPT, whatever that means. The first visa appointment that is available for appointment is
F1 is student, no, Alan?
yeah.
You're on mute, Alan. You're on mute.
Okay, there he goes. You're off mute.
Question is if she's talking about an immigrant visa, EB, the first category, or whether I don't think she's talking about an F1 student visa, because if she's talking about an F1 student visa, the child.
Yeah, she's talking about, but she says, Alan, she says an F1 OPT.
Yeah, the F1.
So that's a student. That's a student.
Yeah, her husband who is in the US has an F1 OPT.
The child would be included. In other words, if the husband is an F1 and she has a visa or she gets a visa, she will get an F2 to join her husband.
Gotcha.
The child would go along with her as an F2.
Right, but there's a possibility she may be turned away at the airport.
Well, there may be, first of all, she may not even get the visa. If she goes into the consulate and she's applying for an F2 to join her husband who's an F1, and they may not have to give it to her. If they don't think she's going to be coming back, they don't have to give her the F2. If she sees that they see she's pregnant, they may not be nervous about getting her F2 either. And then and as Nelson says, when she gets to the airport, she could have a hard time with CBP because F2 is supposed to be coming here to stay, temporarily while her husband is a student. So you could have a problem at the airport also. See, the first question is, can she get the visa at the consulate? Can she get the F2 visa? Second question, when she gets the F2 visa and she comes to the airport, will the people at CBP give her a hard time or not? Probably the best thing is to call PPID so we can sit down with you and go through this and discuss what the possibilities are.
Absolutely. It's just about 15 minutes after the hour, gentlemen. I want to say thanks to each of you for giving this wealth of information here. However, we want to remind everyone, if you would like to get all of your questions answered, one-on-one, privately, confidentially, okay, at a reduced consultation fee, very, very reduced, call this number now, 844-774-3529. That's 844-774-3529. Call and, of course, mention that you heard it right here or seen it right here on Facebook or heard it on 93.5 WVIP FM in New York, and they will answer your questions. You can ask for the attorneys by name. So make sure you call 844-PPID-LAW. Once again, for, of course, accident cases, for, of course, immigration, make it Pollack, Isaac, and Nasico, referred to as PPID. My name is David Annakie, Nelson Madrid, Esquire. Thank you, Alan E.K., Esquire. Thank you so much. And we're gearing up again. When will we hear from you again, Alan?
The next time I'm on, it may be this Friday.
Friday, definitely Friday. All right. And Nelson, thanks again for sharing what it is that you shared with everyone earlier about you being at, PPID. Any final words from you, Alan? Anything else you want to drop from the news update quickly before we go?
Well, the application support centers where you're supposed to go to get fingerprinted, it's an essential part of your immigration case. There are 1.3 million people waiting for biometrics appointments as of mid-December. So if you don't have a biometrics, you haven't been called in yet, there's a backlog and that's going to be a problem. Also, you want to mention what's happening in the beginning of February? We're having a program.
Absolutely. February the 5th, as we mentioned when we started, February the 5th, that's next week Friday, not this coming Friday. Everyone that's watching this right now, there's that Eventbrite link that is in the WhatsApp group and also in the Facebook group. Do me a favor, just click on it right now. There you go. And just click register. It's absolutely free. You can bring all your friends. You can send that link to them. Tell them to join. Bring all their immigration questions. It doesn't matter where in the world they are, as long as it has to do with U.S. immigration. The attorneys will be there, Nelson Madrid, Alan E.K., and we have a program. Bring all your questions. Do everything, okay? And bring it back there.
They can't get on unless they register. Is that right?
Please, yes. Register to be on the Zoom session. Register to be able to put your hands up and ask a question. All right. Register to also win an iPad. iPads, plural. Okay. Free iPad. We're talking about Apple. All right. iPad. I'm making it very clear. So one of you will definitely win an iPad. So once again, all you got to do is click on that Eventbrite link, register, and be a part of the big PPID Law Forum next Friday, February the 5th at 6 p.m. on Zoom. And all you got to do is click and register. Once again, it takes place next week, Friday, February the 5th, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Brought to you, of course, by the law firm Pollack, Isaac, and the Sequel.
This is a garden.
Companies, all right? That's the Link Up Media Group of Companies and PPID. Once again, the number is 844-774-3529, or you may actually register via Eventbrite or email news@ppid.com for the details. Thank you all so much for being here. We'll catch up and speak with you tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. again with Cruising with a Case Handler, a show on personal injury and immigration. Thank you so much. Have an amazing day.